There comes a moment in life where your peace becomes more valuable than your pride, your silence more powerful than any explanation, and your distance more healing than any confrontation. Don't react. Cut them off silently, not out of hatred, but out of self-respect. When people show you who they are through betrayal, disrespect, or manipulation, your response doesn't have to be loud, dramatic, or emotional. True power is quiet. It's walking away with dignity, choosing your well-being over chaos, and refusing to entertain anything that costs your inner calm. Silence is not weakness, it's strategy. It's the mark of someone who no longer begs to be understood, validated, or heard. This is your awakening, the art of choosing yourself without apology. The real glow-up isn't about showing them what they lost, it's about never looking back. Now, I invite you to listen closely as I share with you 7 powerful truths that could shift your entire mindset. Let every word speak to your soul. Number 1. Silence is the highest form of self-control. There is a divine strength in silence that few truly understand, because we live in a world where loudness is mistaken for power, where speaking up, even in anger, is often viewed as a necessary defense of one's worth. But what if the ultimate power isn't in what you say, but in what you choose not to say? Silence is the highest form of self-control, the clearest reflection of inner mastery, and the most effective weapon against chaos. When someone disrespects you, betrays you, lies about you, or tries to provoke you into lowering your standards, the instinctual reaction is often to fight back, to explain, to argue, to seek justice, to prove your side, but in doing so, you hand over your power to the very person who tried to disrupt your peace. The truth is, real power doesn't scream, it doesn't chase, and it doesn't need to be understood by those who are committed to misunderstanding you. Power simply walks away, quietly, gracefully, and with unshakable calm. Silence shows that you are no longer available for emotional manipulation. It reveals that you've risen beyond the need for temporary satisfaction through verbal exchange, and instead, you've chosen long-term peace over momentary validation. It means your maturity has outgrown your ego's need to react. Anyone can yell back, respond with anger, or get pulled into drama. But to pause, breathe, observe, and then choose not to engage, that's power. That's self-respect in action. Because silence is not about suppressing your voice or denying your truth. It's about choosing your battles wisely, knowing when to speak and when to conserve your energy. It's the realization that not everyone deserves a response. Not every insult deserves a counterattack. And not every door that slams shut deserves to be knocked on again. When you become silent in the face of provocation, you take the wind out of their storm, and you communicate something far more powerful than words ever could, that your peace is no longer negotiable. Silence makes people confront themselves in a way that words never can. It forces them to sit with what they've done, or better yet, it removes the attention they so desperately crave. And even more importantly, silence is for you. It's the space where healing begins, where clarity returns, and where emotional detoxification happens. In silence, you hear your own voice again, the one buried under all the noise, all the outside opinions, all the stress and confusion. You get back to your center. And from that grounded place, you no longer need to prove anything to anyone. You just become stronger, wiser, more focused. Think about it. When you're truly at peace, when you know who you are and what you deserve, what can words add to that? Nothing. So you choose stillness. You choose silence. You choose sovereignty. You allow others to misunderstand you, misjudge you, mislabel you, and still, you don't flinch. Because your peace is worth more than their opinion. Your dignity is worth more than their drama. and your future is worth more than staying entangled in energy that keeps dragging you backwards. Silence then becomes your sanctuary. It becomes the way you exit situations without leaving pieces of yourself behind. It becomes the sword that cuts through illusion, ego, and false attachment. And most beautifully, it becomes the canvas where your transformation paints itself. People may wonder what happened, why you disappeared, why you're not responding anymore, but let them wonder. That's part of the magic. You don't owe explanations to anyone who didn't honor your presence when they had access to you. Your silence speaks volumes. It says, I'm no longer participating in my own pain. I'm no longer explaining my worth. I'm no longer arguing with people committed to misunderstanding me. That is self-control. That is emotional intelligence. That is divine maturity. And once you taste that kind of peace, you'll never exchange it again for the temporary satisfaction of saying one last thing. Once you taste that kind of peace, you'll never exchange it again for the temporary satisfaction of saying one last thing. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, remind yourself, silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is strength under perfect control. It is your soul saying, I've evolved. Don't react. Cut them off silently and watch how the universe rewards your discipline with something far greater than revenge. Inner freedom. Number 2, energy speaks louder than words. There is a universal language more powerful than speech, more undeniable than logic, and more unforgettable than explanation. It's the language of energy, and it speaks louder than words ever will. When you walk away from someone, you don't have to slam doors, write long messages, or make grand announcements. Your energy does the talking, and believe me, it says everything that needs to be said. The moment you pull back your presence, your time, your attention, and your emotional investment, they feel it, not just on the surface, but deep in their spirit, because humans are energy-sensitive beings, and even those who pretend not to care can feel when your energy has shifted. That's why you don't always have to explain yourself. Your vibe does it for you. You can be in a room and say nothing, yet your aura declares whether you're aligned, withdrawn, or fed up. Energy carries your intentions, your pain, your growth, and your boundaries, and people pick up on it, even when they can't consciously explain why something feels different. When you silently withdraw from someone who took your presence for granted, they will feel it in the stillness, in the sudden emptiness, in the echo of your absence. You may have said nothing, but the coldness in the air, the lack of response, the shift in your globe, it all communicates something undeniable. You are no longer available in the same way. That's why energy is never neutral. It's either feeding you or draining you. And the moment you stop offering yours to those who misuse it, they notice. Oh, they notice. They may pretend they don't. They may act unbothered. But inside, your detachment hits them harder than any confrontation ever could. Because words can be debated, denied, dismissed. But energy? You can't fake it. You can't unfeel it. You can't hide from it. That's why someone can tell you they love you, but you can feel the distance in their energy. And that's why someone else can say nothing, yet you feel their care in every subtle gesture. Energy doesn't lie. And once you begin to prioritize how you feel over what people say, your entire life begins to shift. You stop falling for sweet talk and start paying attention to energetic consistency. You stop giving second chances to people who constantly drain your light and begin protecting your aura like it's sacred. Because it is. You begin to notice how some people leave you confused, tired, insecure, while others leave you calm, seen, empowered. That's energy. That's what you begin to trust. And when you take your energy back, from people who were feeding off it without reciprocating. It creates a vacuum in their lives, one they may not be able to describe, but one they will feel. Suddenly, they'll realize it wasn't what you did for them, it was how your presence made them feel. And without it, life feels colder, dimmer, emptier. That's the power you've always had, but maybe you forgot. Maybe you kept giving, speaking, fixing, explaining, hoping they'd see your worth through words. But now, you move differently. You no longer fight to prove anything. You just shift your energy. And that shift speaks volumes. It says, I'm done. It says, I've grown. It says, I deserve more. And those who are truly aligned with your spirit will feel that energy and rise to meet it, while those who aren't will fade away, not because you told them to, but because they no longer match the vibration you're standing in. That's how healing works. That's how evolution works. You don't always have to burn bridges. You simply raise your frequency and watch as everything not meant for you falls away. Your energy begins to attract differently, respond differently, and create differently. And you start to realize that protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's survival. So stop worrying about saying the perfect thing. Stop chasing